Cheevo guys!
What up, guys? This is
Cheevo guys!
back here again with another achievement guide. Today, we are going to be focused on the park. This game is developed and published by Funcom. This game is a horror game with a linear storytelling style. The game has 14 achievements or trophies. 4 are missable and the other 10 are related to the story. You can get your full completion or platinum trophy in anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. You are going to see me get the completion in about 40 minutes. I would suggest playing my video about 10 to 15 seconds ahead of what you're playing on your Xbox or PlayStation. That way you can kind of follow the guide while you're playing at the same time, rather than doubling the 40 minutes by watching and then executing it. If you are interested in purchasing the game, I'll have a link in the description below. The game is $12.99 on the Xbox and PlayStation Store. Alright, so let's get into it. Now that the game has started, we get an achievement for trying to leave the park. This is one of the missable achievements, so right when you start up your game, you are just going to head up the hill into the mist, and you are going to get the achievement for 100 gamer points, which is called The Mist. I'm not going to be talking the whole video, I'm just going to tune in whenever I have something important to say. After all, it's a horror game and I don't want to ruin the experience by talking the whole time. So once we enter the fog, we're going to get that achievement. If for some reason it glitches and you're stuck in the fog and you can't go anywhere, you're going to have to exit and start a new game, and that will spawn you right where we started. So we got our first missable achievement. Now we're going to start the game and we're just going to work on entering the park. So overwrite your old game, and once you get started, we're going to head over to the ticket booth, and we need to talk to the gentleman to let us into the park.
Attention patrons, the park is now closed. Please make your way to the car park at your earliest convenience.
You can press A to interact with objects. I'm going to skip all of the stuff you do not need to interact with. This guide is going to be very to the point.
What?
Hey, Lorraine. Lorraine. Don't blame yourself, Lorraine. People lose things all the time. Take a deep breath and think about the last place you saw your son's teddy bear. Hey, stop! I think your boy just ran into the park. I'll unlock the gates for you.
Alright, so after the cutscene, we are just going to walk through the gate. Once you walk through, you should pop an achievement for entering the park.
This way.
And we just need to go up the escalator.
There's something special about the entrance to an amusement park. A line drawn between the real world and the world of whimsy within. On this side, the apathy of our everyday lives. And on the other, anything we might dare to dream. It's no wonder Callum ran back inside. I wouldn't want to leave either.
Attention employees, the park is now closed. Have a safe journey home.
Alright,
God.
once we enter the park, we are going to head over to the swan ride.
What happened here?
We are going to go straight down the path, and then we are going to end up taking a left when you come to a dead end.
Callum! You can't catch me.
Follow the kid that's running. If you haven't noticed already, you can sprint by holding in the left stick. However, when there's dialogue going on, it's going to make you walk and you won't be able to sprint. Alright, we have arrived to the Swan Ride.
Callum,
This is the
stay where
Tunnel
you
of
are.
Tales. Just have to be patient for the Swan Ride to show up. It's actually not at this entrance or exit. You gotta go over to the second one.
Mommy.
And eventually it'll stop and we are just going to jump on.
Mommy needs to see you.
So we
Callum.
have 2 achievements related to the Tunnel of Tales, one being missable. So for the missable one, about a minute 15 seconds into the ride, we have to make sure that we look at the squirrel character. His name is Chad. He's going to be on the left hand side. So just make sure that you keep eyes on the left, and eventually you'll see him and you'll pop the achievement for having a quote-unquote conversation with him. Besides that, there's an achievement at the end for completing the Tunnel of Tales. Other than that, enjoy the ride.
Near a great forest, there lived a poor woodcutter, his wife and his 2 children. A boy named Hansel and a girl named Gretel. They were very poor and had very little to bite or sup. "What will become of us?" the woodcutter asked his wife one night. "I tell you what, husband, we will take the children into the thickest part of the forest tomorrow and abandon them there." "No, my wife, I cannot do that," said the man. "Then we will all 4 starve, you fool." Hansel and Gretel overheard their parents talking, and Gretel began to weep. "Do not fret, Gretel," Hansel said. He crept out of the hut and gathered white stones from the ground to fill his pockets. The next morning, the woodcutter leads the children into the forest. Before they leave, their mother gives them a slice of bread and warns them that they will get no more food that day. Clever Hansel
Alright,
leaves a
perfect. You
trail
should
of
get
white
the
stones
achievement called
behind them as
Chad
they
for
pass
having
into
a
the woods.
conversation with him.
When
Just
their
make
father
sure that you
leaves
stare at him.
The children wait a while, then follow the trail back to their parents' house. After receiving a thorough scolding from their parents for getting lost in the woods, the children are sent to bed without any supper. Hansel tried to sneak out and collect more white stones, but found that the door was locked. "Tomorrow I will take them into the woods myself," the wife told the woodcutter. In the morning, their mother gave them a slice of bread and led them deep into the forest once again. Hansel broke his bread into pieces and left a trail of breadcrumbs to lead them safely home. But hungry-eyed birds snatched up the breadcrumbs and his trail was destroyed. Abandoned by their parents and unable to find the trail home, the children wandered in the forest for 3 days. The children stumbled into a clearing with an exceedingly strange house. Its walls were made of gingerbread, and its windows were panes of clear sugar. Hansel, desperately hungry, ran forward and began to nibble on the walls. Nibble, little mouse? Who is nibbling at my house? An old woman emerged from the house, sniffing the air and peering around with cloudy eyes. Oh, you dear children, who brought you here? Just come in and stay with me. No harm will come to you. But Hansel and Gretel stayed back, for the old woman reminded them of their cruel mother. Come, children, don't be afraid. I have something for you. The old woman offered them 2 enormous lollipops. The children took them and began to eat. You see, nothing to fear here. Come inside, the old woman urged, and the children, still licking their sweets, followed. Once inside the house, the old woman changed. She stuffed Hansel into a cage and put Gretel to work, sweeping and cleaning her hut. Your brother will make a good mouthful, the old witch told Gretel. Once he is fattened up, I shall feast upon him. Time passed, and poor Hansel refused to eat, fearing the day that the witch would eat him. The witch, for her part, grew impatient. Today I will cook and eat your brother, Gretel. Climb inside and light the oven. But Gretel pretended not to understand. I do not know how. Where is the opening? Fool, the old witch said. The opening is here. And she moved to show Gretel. Seizing her courage, brave Gretel gave the witch a shove, and the old crone tumbled forward into the oven. Gretel slid a large iron bolt over the door to the oven. Gretel freed her brother Hansel, and together they lit a fire beneath the oven. And though she screamed and begged, the children sat by the oven until her screams had stilled, and the witch was cooked. And then, because even children can't survive on sweets, they divided up the body of the old witch and ate her.
Alright, perfect. You should get an achievement for finishing the Tunnel of Tales. Next, we are going to go up and to the left and follow the pathway.
Another accident. This place.
Alright, eventually we are going to get to the octopus ride. This is one of the rides that we cannot
This old thing
interact
used to make
with
the
or
blood run to my
ride.
head.
However, there is an
Make me
achievement
dizzy.
over here. We need to make sure that we examine the Polaroid picture. That nets you the achievement or trophy for me and Callum. It's also going to trigger a dialogue.
Oh, I remember this. Treachery hides in thoughts. Treachery that lashes like a whip and scars our insides. The first time I saw Callum, my thoughts betrayed me. I looked down at this wrinkled, red, bawling thing and I thought, is that it? We build our world from expectations, and the world that I had built for Callum was no different. He was so real, so there, and so far from my expectations. And they shattered, and as they fell in pieces, that one treacherous thought became a new foundation. All of the love that we shared, all of the warmth and goodness that followed, built on a single traitorous thought.
Just keep walking forward.
Constant crashes and 80s music. I guess I found
Alright,
someone's
so you
boat.
want to walk up to this broken bumper cart, and you're going to interact with the battery on top of it. This is going to trigger a cutscene. Alright, after the cutscene, you should get an achievement. That is for 75 points, Shocking Revelations, or learning about shock therapy. You are going to walk up onto the bumper carts, and we are going to go to the farthest side. There is a bumper cart with its lights on. We need to head that way. Once you get to the bumper car with the lights, you are going to examine the accident report. That is going to trigger a cutscene, and you are going to get another achievement or trophy. Alright, once the bumper cart crashes, you are going to head that way, and we are just going to head up the stairs right there where it crashed. So just keep heading down the path, and we need to head over to the Ferris wheel.
It's a matter of public record that I am a failure as a mother. Once, when Callum was very small, I left him asleep in the car while I ran an errand. Don't even remember what it was. When I came back, the sheriff was standing next to the car, watching my boy through the window. I didn't like what I saw in his eyes. Judgment. He wrote me the ticket without saying a word. Just the scratch of his pen on the notepad. When he gave it to me, our eyes met. I know what you're going through. My daughter, Helen, she just gets some help. Help was a bolt of lightning. Help was 1,000 volts surging through my veins. Help is agony. I'd rather die. I wanted to scream. I'd rather you pulled your gun and shot me. But instead my mouth said, yes, Sheriff.
Alright, once we get to the Ferris wheel, we need to walk up to the operating booth. Walk inside, and you are going to decrease the speed of the Ferris wheel. You need to press it 3 times to slow it all the way down. And walk up to Chad and press Ride Ferris wheel.
People come into your life for a reason. Dad used to say that before Mom ran off. After that, he mostly just drank. Things were different for Don and I. When we met, I was sweeping the floor at Susie's diner. He came in with some workers, but he didn't try to flirt or cop a feel like the others. He just ordered a coffee and sat there, watching me. When my shift was over, he offered to walk me home. I don't know how to describe that walk. We talked and laughed and eventually kissed. It felt like love. It felt like a fairy tale. I can't tell you if Callum was made that night or one of the ones that followed, but I think it has to be that night. That one perfect night. Don and I moved in together, but then, well, he died. According to the supervisor, his safety harness failed when he was working on the top of the Ferris wheel. Don was there one moment, and then gone. Sometimes people leave your life for no reason. I was 3 months pregnant with Callum. Fairy tale fucking over.
Alright, once you're off the Ferris wheel, you are going to exit it and walk to the right. Now we are going to see a broken Ferris wheel cart. We need to walk up to it. There's going to be a little baby doll with a roller coaster ticket. We need to examine that ticket. That's going to trigger a cutscene, and it's going to unlock an achievement for finding the missing Ferris wheel cart. Go ahead and walk down the hill and follow the path. Alright, so now we're heading towards the roller coaster ride.
A lot of people idolize their children. You hear them talking about their kids and just the way they talk, their fucking voices make me want to vomit. My angel likes to read, and little Johnny is so good on the piano. Fuck those people! You give up 9 months of your life carrying them, you traumatize yourself giving birth to them, and then you spend the rest of your life as their slave. Wiping asses, mopping up piss, feeding them. Little life-sucking monsters who take and take and take until... we all go insane. Any parent who pretends otherwise is just dishonest. That's called choice supportive bias. I am honest. Callum really grinds my gears, and he owes me everything. Everything. It'd serve the little fuck right if I just abandoned him.
Go ahead and enter and walk up the path.
I always wanted to ride this one. Never got around to do it before.
And just like all the other rides, we need to jump on and enjoy the ride.
What do you want?
We need to talk about Callum.
What do you mean? What have you done to him?
That's insulting. You and your boy are everything that this place doesn't want. The antithesis of what we stand for.
Where is Callum?
The poor child. He tried so hard to do what he was taught. He even left you a trail of breadcrumbs. But the park is just so hungry.
Tell me where my son is.
The witch has him now. Has both of you. No happy ending here, I'm afraid.
Just leave me alone.
Fool. You always were.
Alright, once you are finished with the roller coaster ride, you are going to unlock another achievement for taking the roller coaster. So we're going to walk down the ramp and exit the ride. Next, you are going to walk forward, and you need to make sure to pick up the flashlight on the table. You get an achievement or trophy for picking up the flashlight. This is going to enable us to walk into the House of Horrors, the attraction with the big clown on it. We weren't able to enter there before because we didn't have a flashlight. So we are going to walk to the left and walk up the path.
He doesn't want to answer me. Something has scared him into silence. He doesn't dare talk. He's been changing too. Something sinister lurks in the darkness behind his eyes. I catch him staring at me at odd moments. In the night, he tosses and turns and cries out words that I cannot understand. When I try to soothe him, he snaps and bites at my fingers. I think he wants to talk to me. I think he wants to tell me. But they are watching him every minute of every day. They are whispering to him in his sleep, changing him. They are taking my...
Alright, now we're entering Sideshow Alley. You're going to walk forward and make sure to read the newspaper. This is another missable achievement. And that is 75 points for learning about Chad. Alright, next you're going to walk to the left. And in between these little buildings with this lit up cotton candy sign, there is going to be a corpse on the floor. You need to make sure to examine the corpse.
Oh, bastard. Who did this to him?
Whoa! Jump scare. Alright, so we're going to exit, walk forward, and now because we examined that corpse, there are going to be pills here on this little stand. So we just need to make sure to take the pills.
These are mine.
Alright, so once all of this trippiness starts, we need to do a couple laps. We won't be able to go that way because the Reaper's right there, so just continue to go to your left, which ends up being the right hand side. We're going counterclockwise. Alright, so just keep following the kid, and we are going to exit.
Oh God, no!
Alright, once you wake up from tripping, you are going to get another achievement. That is for 75 points. That is for finding the pills. Alright guys, so now what we need to do is head towards the House of Horrors now that we have the flashlight. So just go forward, down the path, and eventually you are going to see the building with the big clown on it. We need to walk into the mouth, and that is the House of Horrors.
15 cents worth of mass-produced Chinese teddy bears, while a grinning carny pockets your hard-earned $5. What secrets lie beneath the sullen waters of the lake? The tears of jilted lovers, the soiled condoms of illicit affairs, the clotted blood of the lonely suicide. And the face of the witch looms over it all. I always despised her toothy grin and warty nose. I hate that sparkle in her weathered, watchful eyes. I think Callum is waiting for me. Inside.
once we've walked in, should get the achievement once you enter that room. That is for 100 points for entering the House of Horrors. Alright, so we are going to enter the door, and this is going to trigger a trippy little puzzle that has like never-ending hallways. Kind of similar to the PT demo if you guys have ever played it. You're just going to walk forward through the door, and we are going to be doing a couple laps around the house.
Gave me Callum back and sent me home with a handful of breadcrumbs. Home, bittersweet home. I barely recognized it. Where there had been color and light, there were shadows and regrets. Where there had been warmth, there was a bone-deep coldness that never went away. I tried my hardest to keep the ghosts at bay. Don, watching from the dusty corners while I tried to teach his son to read. My father, coldly assessing me and finding me lacking. I devoted myself to Callum, did the things that they told me. It will get better, they said. Every day will be a little better than the last. I'm in the woods now, lost and afraid. Things never got any better.
Alright, so now that that loop of trippiness is over with,
Stories are
we are
told
going
again
to
and
go
again,
forward
and
through the
from their shape
library,
they build
to
our
a right,
understanding of the world.
and go down the stairs.
Two children are led into the woods. They are lost for a time, but then are captured by an old witch. A child goes missing in Atlantic Island Park. He wanders lost for a time before finding his way into the mouth of an old witch. In the oldest version of this story, the mother and the witch were the same person. I never wanted to be the witch.
So once you walk into this final room, we are going to examine the book, and that is going to trigger the secret door to open. You are going to walk in, and it is going to show the final cutscene of the game. And after the cutscene, you should get your last achievement or trophy.
Callum? 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 Callum!
Hey, Lorraine. Lorraine. Don't blame yourself, Lorraine. People lose things all the time. Take a deep breath and think about the last place you saw your son.
In my heart and mind, I always return to Atlantic Island Park.
Alright guys, that's another completion or platinum trophy. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If this video helped you out, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.